chambers who become stagnant, or chambers who have had people there for a long time, and then you sort of get to the realization where you're like, oh, every event I go to is the same face or the same business. And I'm not saying that we're perfect. I'm sure that you'll go to events like our Young Professionals group where you'll see the same faces. Those ones you're meant to see the same faces. But when you have opportunities for networking, or you have opportunities to get those businesses out there in front of people, you should always be editing it, always being able to sort of move on the fly to allow those people to get there.
What is Alec's plan of action if the Clawson Chamber of Commerce were to be no more?
You know that's a good question. God, that's a tough one. I got tackled, and instead of just getting tackled and landing on the ground, I landed on the ball right on my hip. I went to my doctor. He's like, oh yeah, it's probably just a hamstring. You're gonna have to, you just take it easy, relax it, So I walked around on that thing for 2 months before it was so painful I could barely walk, and I went into a specialist, an orthopedic surgeon, and he watched me walk down the hall, and he said, I know exactly what you have. We need to get you into surgery immediately.
What is going on, everybody? I am Walter Hooper, host of Marketing Minds Me. This is the podcast where we connect and chat with local business leaders, entrepreneurs, community figures. These are people that, others resonate with. They are individuals that are part of the charge of leading the Metro Detroit entrepreneur business realm. And so I have someone here today. Funny story. We had connected via email and what have you, and then we come to meet at this coffee shop in downtown Clawson, and we're sitting there, and we've been sitting in this coffee shop for about a couple minutes, and then finally we realize, oh wait, you're already here. But through that, we've connected over the last couple months, and this is an individual that is currently, you want to talk about taking charge and leading, this is someone that is currently leading the Clawson Chamber of Commerce in downtown Clawson, Michigan. And also, it just was made news to me, brought to my attention, that this person is also looking to run for city council in Clawson. So that's a pretty big deal. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the one, the only Alec Speshock, man. What's going on, man? How are you?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me today. Very excited to be here. I've always loved podcasting, so it makes me feel good to be able to hear my voice in my own head. But no, I when I first met Walter, yes, it was a very funny story. It was a meet cute without the cute. We were really just trying to have an introduction with a new business. That's something that I do all the time. I go out and I look for opportunities for those businesses, for people who want to connect, to get out there. And through that, we were sitting there. Walter was locked in. He was grinding away, and we missed each other for about 15 minutes, but it went on to be a good meeting. And he is now a proud member of the Clawson Chamber of Commerce, proud member of the Clawson Leaders of Young Professional, or Leadership of Young Professional, also known as CLYP. And we're looking to work for good ways to help expand his business and help grow. So I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, well, thank you for making the trip out here to good old Grosse Pointe Park, part of the bubble, as I call it, here on the east side of Metro Detroit. And as Alec had mentioned, being a member of the Clawson Chamber of Commerce has been a really interesting experience, because it's been one of those things where, so I've been in business now for 9 years, and so I've gone through different chambers, been a part of different organizations, and the thing that really kind of intrigued me about Clawson was, you want to do things a little differently. You want to kind of do things a little outside of the box, unlike what a lot of other chambers are doing. And that really kind of piqued my interest and really made me go, okay, let's see what this is all about. So let's first dive into the chamber. Tell me about Clawson Chamber and tell me about how you became involved initially with that chamber.
Yeah, of course. So with the Clawson Chamber, it was just sort of one of those things. I had been in banking for a couple of years. I was with Huntington. Huntington, provided me a great opportunity, and I wasn't quite looking for a change, but Key offered me, and they're in Clawson. I live in Clawson, and it was just sort of monetarily, location-wise, everything sort of made sense to me. So I figured I would give that an opportunity. They really helped me out tremendously, and they were the people who pushed me to be involved in the community. They really opened up the door to say, hey, let's go into the chamber. Let's work within the downtown. Let's work within the businesses that are there, and let's find that opportunity. So I started out as a board member right away. I went in and I said, get me involved.
Wow.
Put me in, coach, because I said, you know what, if I'm going to dive in head first, I'm going to dive in head first. And something about Clawson really is special because there's a lot of opportunity there. People don't really see it. Small town, smack dab in between two massive cities in Royal Oak and Troy. You're driving through Clawson, and some people don't even know they're driving through Clawson. They just assume it's Royal Oak or Troy or something of the sorts.
It's very real.
And that's something that I'm really trying to establish or set aside, because the special growth that's within Clawson is something that you don't really see in towns or cities nowadays. You see a lot of people who are just like, let's grow, let's build up, let's get as high as we can. There's massive buildings. I mean, I've seen Royal Oak change dramatically in the last 20 years, where you'd go and the tallest building you'd see would be maybe 3 stories. And now you're like, okay, this is very different from the last, 20 years. So the evolution is there. And I think something with Clawson is having those opportunities to grow, but also keep that small town feel. And that's something that really drew me into it. It's something that drew my wife and myself into it to move to Clawson. And it reminds me a lot of Berkeley, where I grew up. So it just sort of tied everything together.
Okay, yeah, because you do bring up a very interesting point in the sense that, when you're going through Clawson, I mean, like I said, it's very real when, people are like, oh, I already drove through it. Like, I thought it was just an extension or a part of, Royal Oak or whatever. And it isn't. And then when you really start to explore it, like with, just on your own, when you're not in a car, it's a very different, it's a different feel altogether. Like you can now you can see, like, there's the brewery that's there. There's the fish market that's there. There's a I know there's a clothing shop there that does like all this like retro, which is so crazy for me to say, but like 2000s is now retro.
Yes, it is.
It sure is.
Yes, it is. You are aging, you and I both, to really set it into it. But you're right. It's on that precipice of, in the 2.2 square miles that is Clawson, there is an entire world within there. Mm-hmm. We have a Korean gastropub. We have some of the best sushi at Noble Fish. We have your standard American bars like Detroit Burger Bar. You have your pubs where everything is brewed, distilled within Michigan made at Grand River. You have Gus Snug, an Irish pub. You have Whiskey Taco Foxtrot, which is some of the best Mexican in the area, along with Mojave. They're both fantastic. And then we have new businesses that are coming in there. We're going to have a American-style food with an Asian sort of flavor profile to it, hopefully in Vigilante in the next year or so. Rob over at Pandemonium is opening up his Filipino-style restaurant, which he's been doing pop-ups in his alleyway, and his food is unreal. And it's just, it's seeing those opportunities there within the city and seeing the different cultures, the different opportunities, the different growth within those businesses and the different people, and it really drew me into it. So going back to, what I did, I became a board member. I was a board member for about a year. towards the end of 24, Char Larson, who had been the president for about 20 years, she was like, hey, I'm ready to step down. I haven't been able to find anybody who's willing to take over. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I absolutely love what I get to do as a board member. Why not be in charge? Mind you, this is all volunteer at this point. So I am entering in basically a full-time job of volunteering. And we got through April when our employee, because we're a small chamber, so we had one employee, she ended up leaving. She, had some life changes, was getting married, different things like that. And it sort of struck an opportunity for me to, obviously we had to think, like, how would this work? And I had a board member come to me and go, you're basically doing this job. Why would you not want to be paid for it? Why wouldn't you just take the executive director role? And I started thinking to myself, I was like, I get out of corporate America, don't have to deal with that anymore, and I get paid to do something that has become a passion of mine. Sign me up. So we went through the hiring process, and in about June of this year, I became the executive director. So it's been a short period for that, but it's been great. It's given me the opportunity to work with businesses, to come hang out with Walter on a Monday at 1 p.m. to do a podcast. It's given me those opportunities to work with the businesses that I love to support. So I'm very blessed when it comes to that. So it sort of opened that up for me.
Yeah, and I will say this. So once again, I've been in various chambers, organizations, and I'm gonna throw one in particular under the bus here a little bit, because they really have lost sight of what being a chamber is for its members. So one of the first chambers I belonged to was in Sterling Heights, mm-hmm. And there was a community there. There was a community of business leaders, of entrepreneurs, small businesses, and it was really all about the camaraderie, promoting one another, utilizing each other's companies for services, whether it was a direct one-to-one, or if you recommended, you referred somebody to them. And as time went on and leadership changed, then it started to become, and I saw this coming from 50 miles away, mind you. So this was like just before the pandemic. And they were focusing more towards political agendas, political ideologies, things of that nature, like economic forecasts, having various, local leaders, do these seminars and what have you. And I just asked a basic question when they were updating us on all this. I said, so it looks like you're heading towards a political, angle here. Is this a trend that we're going to see, like, in the foreseeable future, that's going to be a common thing? And then for us small business owners who maybe don't want to be involved with politics, who don't want to have anything tied with that, like, how is that going to help us? And I got, man, the look I got and the response I got was a very, like, visceral, like, almost like, how dare you ask that? And it's like, okay, what you just did right there tells me everything I need to know about how this is going to move forward. And so, long story short, now, a bunch of, like, some of, like, the OG members that have been a part of that chamber for so many years, they're gone. And because they saw, I'll say it, they saw the fuckery going on in it, and they were not happy. And because it turned into you as the member need to do what I tell you to do, and you're going to kiss my feet and kiss my ring, as opposed to where, and again, I've been in a few chambers and organizations. It should be the other way around. Maybe not quite as extreme, but hey, what can I do for you? Kind of like what you were doing today, and even how, like, we've connected over the last few months. Like, to me, that's a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, that's what a normal That's what a normal chamber is supposed to be like.
That's how it should work.
Right. Yeah. Not this oligarchy or monarchy, of, you answer to a king or a queen and, that's that. Then that's not, I'm not just going to, bow down and submit because why? Because even though I'm the one that's providing you your income, your salary, like politely fuck off.
No, I can definitely understand where you come from on that. And that's something that I feel like chambers who become stagnant or chambers who have had people there for a long time, and then you sort of get to the realization where you're like, oh, every event I go to is the same face or the same business. And I'm not saying that we're perfect. I'm sure that you'll go to events like our Young Professionals group where you'll see the same faces. Those ones you're meant to see the same faces. But when you have opportunities for networking or you have opportunities to get those businesses out there in front of people, you should always be editing it, always being able to sort of move on the fly to allow those people to get there. Something we did this year with our Clawson Connections was it used to always be first thing in the morning, coffee. Networking in the morning is great, but some businesses cannot function in the morning. They could be an evening business. They could be a business that needs people there first thing in the morning. There could be a huge difference on what it means, but maybe a 5 o'clock happy hour works better. And that's something we sort of switched up. We have our next happy hour on September 10th at Grand River Brewery from 5 to 7. And it's an opportunity to provide. And whoever listens to this, I open it up. Hey, you're not a chamber member? You want to come find and learn more? You want to build your business in Clawson? Come check it out. But it's an opportunity for people who might not be able to be there in the morning.
Yeah, and I like that. I like the fact that there is options, there is versatility, and I think and I know a few chambers do that as well. But they're I don't know. It seems like it's like I don't know. It's like you said, like you'll see the same people, and that's kind of been my thing. Like when it comes to like chambers and all that, it's like I love seeing some of the same people and all that. It's great.
Yeah,
but
they become friends.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it's like I do want to be able to. So it's that fine line of being able to, meet new people, but also at the same time, like be able to, connect with those that you already know. And I guess that's part of it too. Is the more you show face, then the more people are going to recognize you, and then even the ones that you see on a regular basis, they may be like, oh yeah, I've gotten to know Walter, and he's whatever, he's, he does, podcast engineering, audio engineering, video production, SEO, paid social media ad campaigns. Yeah, he's the guy I think you want to like talk to. So again, it's that fine line. It's kind of like that marriage, But so because this is Marketing Minds Meet, we do talk about some marketing,
of course,
and what have you. So for the Clawson Chamber of Commerce, what, as far as marketing goes, where have you seen the biggest strengths in the chamber's marketing, and where have you seen the biggest improvements that need to be made with the chamber's marketing?
So overall, I would say our biggest strength that we're at right now is sort of when I took over being in charge of everything. So even though I didn't start as a full-time employee until June, I was basically in charge of everything starting in January as the president. And something that I really took to heart and something we tried to push at the end of 24 was to sort of change the way we do things. So the previous person who was in charge did a lot of sharing of Facebook pages without any context, without any reason why you should go check out this place or this business. And for some people that works. Sometimes you go on social media and you see, oh man, there's an event and my friend John shared it and now I want to go to this event. But to me, you have to sort of build a story for somebody. So something that we sort of took is we took a lot of time and energy to focus on the graphics and the marketing and how we put it out, whether it's social media, whether it's through a newsletter, whether it's through manual print in like our Pulse in Clawson. It goes out to everybody. It's like a magazine. So we have a lot of different opportunities that we focus on. And I think that a strength for us is being able to work within the city, work with the city, the school district, the local businesses. I think that it opens up so much and so many opportunities. But I would say probably an area that we would love to focus on to make it even better is the consistency, building out those schedules, taking advantage of, if you're utilizing Facebook and Instagram, the business suites, for scheduling out your posts and stuff like that. And I think that's something that I'm working towards. Sometimes it's tough when you have an event that pops up and you're like, oh, I need to do this, but I already have something scheduled for this day for it to go out, And so I think just sort of building that and working around it really helps. But I would definitely say that's probably an area. But overall, I think that we've done a really good job with marketing. And I think that that's something that we need to focus on and continue to focus on because it's very important. I've learned from you, I've learned from other friends that are in the industry that you have to focus on your brand. And if you're not branding it properly or doing it properly, you can do a disjustice to you, do a disjustice to your clients. It could be anything. So I would definitely say there's room for improvement, but we've definitely made a drastic change from a year ago.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but also I think because you realize that there does need to be, you got to go with the changes. And in this industry, like change happens like that.
Super fast.
So being able to adapt to that, and I think also knowing the strengths and the weaknesses, and even like with me and my business. So when I started out, I was social media, I was emails, I was website. I thought I could do it all, but then realizing over the years that, oh wait, maybe I can't. But if I'm able to hone in on my strengths, then let's see where that goes. And then that's when the video production came into play. And then COVID happened, and so I couldn't really do videos. And then I added in podcasting so I could record remotely and even do video calls and what have you. And that, honestly, that's what saved my business. So, again, changes. So what you were just saying, being able to, once you took it over, now you see, okay, this is what's working. And yes, there's always room for improvement, but you've already seen some improvement, so that's great. For you, as doing the executive director role now with the chamber, we're halfway. I can't even believe I'm saying this. We're already halfway through the year. But what are some of your goals that you want to accomplish this calendar year for the chamber?
So one of our biggest ones we actually just accomplished this past Monday. It was our annual golf outing that we're hoping to become annual again. It was our first try at it again, which was great. Our last time we did it was actually way before COVID, 17, 18. And that was one of those big things where, a lot of people will argue and say, this doesn't work as well as it once used to, or this doesn't draw people. And I'm not saying that people who say that are wrong, but I'm saying that there's an opportunity to still try to go above and beyond and find those ways to draw people into an event. And I think the people who say, oh, this doesn't work, so we stop doing it, or it's not this, I think that that's almost a way of giving up or copping out in a situation. And I'm always one that's not going to do that. I'm always up for a challenge. And I'm always going to try to fight for that opportunity. So something that I really am focusing on next is we have our Fall Clawson Pause Festival. That's in September. We do that every year. This is our first year we're merging the Fall Festival and Clawson Pause. Normally Clawson Pause is mainly adoption-focused, rescue-based. We raise money that goes back to the rescues, and we sort of focus on the positivity, reasons why to rescue, and focus on that. And that's sort of been a big thing for us. And then the other festival is a fall festival. So it's just a lot of fun. There's hay rides at the end of the night. There's a massive bonfire, cider, donuts, all the fun for the kids and the families. So we always were competing, city and chamber, back-to-back weekends in September. School's back. Things are getting busy. We were like, hey, let's try to merge those two events together and try to work something out. So we did. It'll be September 27th this year from 3 to 7. It is a super fun event, and that's sort of like one of my big accomplishments that I'm focusing on now for it to be a successful event. But I would say overall, before the end of the year, I would love to have my 2026 calendar planned. I would love to have forward-thinking approach to the future, and not just, oh shit, I have to go do this, because that's sort of what the unfortunately a chunk of the chamber was for a long period of time. And man. COVID didn't help it. COVID made a lot of things more difficult. People drawing back on sponsorship funding, people drawing back on different opportunities. It's hard as a small business. Obviously, even though you've been doing it for 9 years, you have so much money that you have set, whether you break it down annually or quarterly or monthly, that you can spend. So when somebody comes to you and says, I've got a great opportunity for you, give me $500 to be a gold level sponsor for this event, you know that you can either A, say yes, B, say no. There's no in between. You know what your marketing budget is, and you try to stick to it. Even though you could have finished a massive project and got a bonus on top of it for doing such an amazing job, that money all has to be earmarked for something, to pay you, to make sure there's a roof over your head, to make sure you're doing it. And that's the struggle with these small businesses. So I think that it really stems from that, and being able to have things locked in to say, hey, you're my number one sponsor for this event every year. I'm locked in October or November of 25 for 26. Can I count on you? Have them plan it out in advance so they know that they have those sponsorship dollars to share.
Yeah. No, and that's the wild thing. And yeah, I gotta say too, like, so you mentioned the pandemic, and I still will sometimes hear the excuse of, because I'm also in a Kiwanis group, and our biggest fundraising event that we do, it's the Harper Charity Car Cruise, and so we go through and get sponsors like crazy, but we've had sponsors like drop out and what have you, and just in general, like, I'll hear people say, oh, well, ever since the pandemic and blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay. So I kind of have a bit of a devil's advocate take on that. It's COVID was now over 5 years ago. Like, if you're still using that as an excuse, and I have heard other like businesses like use it, it's like, okay, now it's not just because of the pandemic. Maybe it's just because you're cheap.
I mean, that definitely could be a possibility. I'm not going to argue that. I definitely know some businesses that don't believe in sponsorship money or don't believe in being members of chambers. It's okay. I think that's something that we all need to focus on as the business, but there's definitely things that you can update in your spiel if you're not going to be able to give money.
Right.
Focus on tariffs.
Yeah.
Tariffs are massive. We're talking about the tariffs, and if you're gonna not want to pay me to be a sponsor for an event or something like that, tariffs are more realistic. Unfortunately, COVID does still exist, but we are not where we once were in 2020.
No,
I don't have to wear a mask
slightest.
across the table from you. I can give you a hug and not worry about catching cooties, so
right.
It's an opportunity to be able to, well, it's true, it's an opportunity to be able to, have those conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. As a small business, you have to make those decisions, and there has to be an opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it's that fine line, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, if I keep hearing that, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's kind of a cop out, if you ask me. But so wait, no. Now, so what you're telling me is you're going to sponsor my next event? All right, we got Walter locked in. Walter's locked in. I see what you did.
At the platinum sponsor.
I see what you did.
No cop outs for Walter. You heard it here. Folks. This is the confirmation in real time that he is sponsoring the Fall Claws and Paws Festival in real time.
Oh, we'll cut that in post. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I haven't had a good laugh like this on the show in a minute, but
that's what I'm here for. That's why he brought me on. I'm here to have fun.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're still gonna have fun, but we're gonna get, as I call it. So I'm a Star Wars guy. So we've been going through the light side. Now we're gonna go through the dark side. Because I feel like if you don't go through that, then you're not really getting the full gamut and the full spectrum of, the business owner, the organization, what have you. So, so I have a few dark side questions here for you.
Of course.
My first dark side question for you, Sir Alec, is, and it's so funny because Sir Alec again.
I tell people all the time, if you are going to compare me to another Alec, do it to Sir Alec.
To Sir Alec, yes!
You call me Alec Baldwin, we're going to have some problems.
But see, this was perfect. This was meant to be.
Yes, it was.
All right. My first dark side question for you is, tell me something about what you do currently as the executive director for the Clawson Chamber of Commerce. Something that you don't like and why.
Oh, that's such a good question. Something that I do currently for the Clawson Chamber of Commerce as executive director that I don't like. Mm-hmm. That is a very tough question because I've sort of fallen into a position with my job where I actually enjoy doing almost everything.
Okay, well, what's that small sector that is the almost?
That small sector is being the salesperson to pay my salary. I love being able to interact with businesses. I love helping businesses. I love being a resource for those businesses. But I hate having to sell specifically, hey, join the chamber, be a part of the chamber. I want to help you. But then, because I have to be able to pay the bills. I have to be able to pay those things. And it's like any business owner. It's being able to do that sales pitch that gets you into the door of a business that you're trying to sell, that gets you in there. And I've been a salesperson most of my life. Banking, you'd be shocked. It's basically like a sales position. You're a banker. You are selling those loans. You are selling those products. When I was in appraisal management, I was selling the fact to the appraisers why they should come work for us. We'll give you the best fee. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. And even down to the nitty gritty. You're a restaurant. You're a movie theater. You're one of the many jobs that I've had. I've always been a salesperson, and it's something that unfortunately never leaves you. And that's it's the toughest part because I don't want to go up to Walter and say, give me your money.
Yeah.
But I have to because it's a part of my job. I would love to be here and say, Walter, what do you need? What can I do to help you?
Yes.
And not do anything monetarily. But I'm going to have to. And that's a part of my job. And it's not something that I hate. I can do it. I'm good at it. I'm good at talking to people. And I'm good at being able to sell myself and sell the chamber. But it's not something I look forward to. So if I'm going dark side, that's probably the dark side that I'd land on.
Yeah. And you know what? That's totally fair because I'm kind of the same way. Like, like I can talk to people and I can, start to, have conversation, relate and what have you. But then, I always want, and maybe this is part of the people pleaser in me too. Still, like, there's a small part of them still in there. Not much though. I've become more jaded, but
after the years, it just gets you.
After the years, yeah. After you see the things I've seen, but anyway, it's like how do I be able to hype myself up, hype my company up, but also be able to look at the person and say like, hey, like, you're not going to go through this situation because I have heard many horror stories of different agencies and companies that have taken people. And that shit just grinds my gears. And if anything, that's what kind of drives me to kind of go for it and be like, hey, like, what was your last experience like? Mm-hmm. Tell me And then let me tell you, like, what we can do, what my company can do to either equal that if it was a great one, or make it even a more pleasant, better experience than what you had prior to.
Nope.
So it's one of those, it's that fine line, and plus, being rejected is never fun. Like,
Never.
it's never fun.
It hurts your soul.
Yeah, but I think the other thing too, is it's okay. Like, you're gonna, and I think a lot of people, like, just need to learn how to take rejection better. It's like,
Very true.
If you get the no, like, to me, that adds more fuel to the fire than if I get the yes. Because then when I get the no, it's like, okay, like, so, like, what can I do next time?
Yeah. What can I do better?
Exactly.
How can I take myself and sell myself the way that I need to get a yes next time?
Mm-hmm.
How can I improve myself? And that's the sales tactic side that I actually do like, because I do like being able to improve myself every time. Mm-hmm. So when I sit down and I talk to somebody and I say, hey, this is my sales pitch, what do you think?
Absolutely. Yes. So essentially part of the sales, just being able to justify what you're selling, but also be able to put food on your table, keep the roof over your head.
Yep.
Oh, I get it, man. You just gotta get it.
I don't need to be living under the bridge on 94 or 75 or 696. I mean, people tell me I have the voice for radio, like I was telling you earlier, but I don't need to become a bridge troll. So I gotta feed the family.
That's right. All right. My next dark side question for you, Sir Alec, is, let's say if, and this is a big if, people, so let's not, big if, but let's just say if the Clawson Chamber of Commerce were to suddenly cease to exist and it were to be no more, and now you have to start all over again, is there a backup plan? Is there a plan B? What is Alec's plan of action if the Clawson Chamber of Commerce were to be no more?
That's a good question. God, it's a tough one. No, it's so I'm a man of, and my wife will attest to this, friends, family. I'm a man that can literally not sit still. I need to always be growing, learning, doing something different. So something that I really try to focus on is finding ways to set myself up for success outside of my day job, outside of other opportunities. So I would say one of the biggest things, so I do currently own and operate my own business as well. It's called Reclaimed and Rare. It's an estate sale business. It's something that I've been doing since the beginning of 2024. I came to the realization it wasn't technically pre the chamber, but it was pre my full-time position with the chamber when I was volunteering and I was working in banking. I need to be my own boss. I love people. I love working with people, but there is a level of having a boss that is a good boss. And then there's the track record I've had where it's just like shit after shit after shit. And it's an unfortunate, I don't know if I am attracted to bad bosses, but I mean, there's a boss that I had within the last 2 years that I used to call Michael Scott. And you would be like, whoa, you got to work with a Michael Scott character? I got to work with all the bad aspects of Michael Scott, not the good aspects. Not every once in a while you get him singing out loud in the lobby, but it was not a pleasant Michael Scott. It was the dark Michael Scott.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So working for yourself again.
Working for myself again. I mean, I would just jump into it, and I would, if God forbid, people, the Clawson Chamber ceased to exist tomorrow, I would jump in. I'm at the point in my life where I do not feel like starting over another career. I do not feel like going back into any ones I've been in. And I feel like I would be good at what I do. And I currently do it. Currently, I don't feel comfortable enough to the point where hey, I'm locked in. I'm doing a sale every weekend. I'm doing multiple sales every weekend, whatever the case may be. But it's something that I feel like I'm setting myself up for as a plan for the future, because I also might not always be in my position. I might have an opportunity that comes up, not starting over in a different, but you always have to be on the lookout for growth, for opportunities, for ways to improve yourself, whether it's you're an entrepreneur, whether it's you're a 9-to-5er who feels like he's been stuck or she's been stuck. And it could be something that opens it up. It could be something where you have a passion like yourself, where you're like, hey, I love the marketing aspect. I love the way these things work. Let me do it for my day job. And some people take the leap of faith, yourself included. You took that leap of faith, but not everybody can get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was one of those things too where, so for a long time, for like the first few years of me doing what I do now, being in business and what have you, I had this mindset of, if you weren't an entrepreneur and you weren't doing your own thing, then you're just settling in life, and you're just you're never really going to see your full potential. And then as time went on, as I really got to connect more with people and kind of hear their backgrounds and what have you, and their employment, a lot of times this isn't for everybody, and that's okay. Like, just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else. I connected with someone a few years ago. We were at one of your rivals, your competitors. It was for the Troy.
God forbid.
Yeah. But
we love Tara and Troy, okay? She is awesome.
And I was actually at a Young Professionals event I got invited to. And I ran into someone from high school. Now, I hadn't seen this person in years, like since 2007 to be exact. And so we got talking, and I told them about what I was doing. So I think at that point, I had been in business since, I think this is maybe back in 2021. Okay. So, we were back doing things and what have you. And I told them what I did, and they said, oh my God, like that's, wow, like I could never do that. I could never do that. And it was like, at first I took it as like, okay, like I get it, like you can't. And then it was like, and like they were asking me questions like, how are you able to like, just kind of like do your own thing? How do you like sustain your, just like you make it work. Mm-hmm. And, but that was a bit more of the extreme example of, okay, that's it. Maybe it's not for that person.
Correct.
But it works for me and for others that are like me, in that sense that they can be able to get their stuff, ready to go. They are able to manage their time. Well, I'm trying to be better about that, but
yeah, we're all imperfect creatures.
Yeah. I mean, we're all just trying to do our best here,
Mm-hmm.
But so I get that, So okay, so going back to your business, so that's great. Yep. It's already lined up. A couple more dark side questions for you before we go back to the light. What would you say so far of this calendar year? What would you say is one of the biggest challenges that you faced leading the Clawson Chamber of Commerce?
Biggest challenges. I mean, it's something that I would argue every time. Anybody who's ever been in this position or has ever had to work with a board, I would say my biggest issue is working with that board. There are people, so when I came onto a board, it was my first true experience on a board was with the Clawson Chamber of Commerce. And for me, as a board member, I always thought of myself as I need to be held to a higher standard. I accepted the responsibility to come on as a board member, so I need to put my time and effort into this board. But a lot of people don't think like me. And unfortunately, a lot of people will join boards and it's just a title. It's just an opportunity to put on their resume. It's just a symbol. It could be anything. And so those people join the board, and not saying that I have too many of people like that on my board, but unfortunately, there's always going to be people who don't show up, who don't help, but they always have something to say. So if that was my dark side that I really had to dive into, it's the people who always have something to say, something that I struggle with, you know. They always have something to say, but they don't back it up with their effort. Yeah, not to call people out right on the spot. I didn't say any names.
I've also been facing that with another organization. And it's amazing to me because there are certain people, like you said, that I call them title chasers, or going to private school and all that. We call people like that social climbers. Mm-hmm. One in particular in this organization I'm in, you know, they knew that my father was on the board of elders at one of the churches here locally. Mm-hmm. Now, this person never once bothered, before my father was involved with any of that, this person never gave me the time of day. Never, like I try, whatever, nothing.
No.
Well, then, the moment my father is on the board of elders, all of a sudden, hey, Walter, how you doing? Yeah. Hey, how's your dad? How's your brother? I see him all the time. I honestly, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
why did it take this long?
Yeah. And then some other people were kind of the same way. It's like, wow, like you showed me everything you needed. And so now, like, being down there, it's yes. People like that, they will filter themselves out in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those things where, again, it's like you said, it's just something to have on their resume. It's a title. You know, whether or not they really give a shit about the organization, like, maybe yes, maybe no, but it's all about what can it do for me? What can I get out of this?
Yeah.
And see, I'm one of those people where it's like, I don't give a shit about a title. Like, like I'm just happy to be where I'm at. You know, I'm happy to be on the board that I'm on right now. Mm-hmm. And if that changes, then so be it. Like, that's on my terms. You know, it's not because, like, oh, I don't want people to think this of me, or like I want to be able to, you know, to you know. Yep. It's like, no, like, just.
Yeah, I think something that I really, you know, people who don't know me might go, oh, well, he was the president, he's the executive director, and he's doing this and he's doing that. And people might say, oh, he's one of those people. He's chasing the title. But what people don't realize about me, or what people don't really have that openness or being willing to talk to me, people just assume things. The biggest thing about me is I'm not here for president, executive director, whatever title. I'm not here for that. What I'm here for is the community. I'm here to work, to help, to make my community thrive, whether it's through the businesses, the residents, you know, the people who are there in the city that are making it matter. And, you know, not to plug myself, you know, I am running for city council. That is something that I'm really passionate about, because I think that there's a change in Clawson that needs to be made down to the political level to be able to have that opportunity. City council is a nonpartisan thing. I'm not here to be, I'm left, I'm right. I'm here to be here for the citizens of Clawson. And I think that that's something where people will say, oh, well, you might be doing too much, or I've had the conversation, or people have brought it up where they say, hey, do you think that it is a conflict of interest to be executive director of the Clawson Chamber of Commerce and a city council member? And my response to that is, the Clawson Chamber of Commerce has no connection to the city outside of the name. We work with the businesses. We're a 501c6 nonprofit. We have no federal funding. We have no local government funding. We have what we fundraise, and that's it. The closest thing we have is our office is within City Hall, you know, and that's something that we work with them. That's, you know, they provide the space for us, but that is the only connection. So I can understand when people want to say something or they want to focus on something, but I think the biggest way to prove people wrong is showing with your actions, working, being involved in the community. This upcoming Saturday, we have Clawson Fest. I am going to be there from 9 a.m. in the morning until 9 p.m. at night, because I'm not there to, I'm there volunteering. I'm not there to, oh, this is this is that. It's me working with this, third party that puts on this event and having fun and giving back to the community with my time.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Amen.
Sorry, I went on a tangent.
Amen.
Sorry.
I love it. So I have one more dark side question for you.
Sounds good.
Are you a music guy at all?
I enjoy all types of music. I go anywhere from crazy EDM to country to rock and roll is a big one for me. Hip hop.
Okay. So this one kind of ventures into the rock and roll, more so blues.
Okay.
It's old school blues too. Are you familiar with a bluesman by the name of Robert Johnson?
I am not.
Okay, so Robert Johnson, he was a guitar player in the Mississippi Delta during like the 30s and what have you. And the weird thing is he's a very kind of had a very cryptic bit of a past. Like, no, there really isn't much known about him, and those that knew him aren't around anymore. So there's a lore that he came to that he was on his way back from a gig, and he happened to stumble upon a Crossroads, and there's a song by Cream, which is made famous, Crossroads. Well, that was his song, and then they just made it into rock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in the lore of Crossroads is that he came to the Crossroads and that he had an encounter with an individual, and he had his guitar in his case, and this person said, "I can tune your guitar for you if you like. And after I tune your guitar, your playing and your skills will be through the roof. Is that something you'd be interested in?" And he said yes. So and before this, he was really like those that knew him, like from old footage, is like people even like that saw him play prior to this. Like they said that he was all right. Like he wasn't anything to really write home about. Mm-hmm. So after this supposedly happened, then all of a sudden he was doing things that two guitar players should be doing, but it was for one. So long story short, one night he's playing a gig, and of course he's crushing it, he's killing it, and all of a sudden he decides he'd like to partake in, into the female, territory. He was a friendly guy. Well, it comes to find out that this one female he was talking to she was with someone. Well, this person ended up poisoning his drink, and he went to take a drink, and he keeled over, dead. He was 27. He was the first to enter the 27 club. Yep, correct.
There we go.
So the lore here is that when he was at the Crossroads, the person that ended up tuning his guitar was the devil himself, because no matter what, the devil comes to collect his pay. Now, granted, he became and still is regarded and revered as one of the greatest guitarists, musicians in the rock and roll blues industry. Without Robert Johnson, we would not have rock and roll. You wouldn't have all of these iconic bands either. You wouldn't have Cream. It just wouldn't happen.
No.
So, Sir Alec, my question to you is, let's say the devil makes you an offer and says, "Alec, I can make you probably not only one of the biggest chamber in all of Michigan and even all of the world, and you would have members flocking, wanting to just become and join this organization, and you would be set for life. You would have nothing to worry about. However, even though Robert's life was on the line, that doesn't necessarily mean yours would be. And this could be for the sake of a loved one, a family member, a friend. But you would be set for life. You would have nothing to worry about. Do you take that deal that the devil makes you?"
Absolutely not. I think that something is very important, at least to me, is my faith. And I think that that's something that I just don't want to trifle with. You could make me the richest man in the world. You could make me the happiest. You could make me whatever the case may be. But if the devil comes knocking and that's the reason you become those things, that's a no for me. And to the people who may not believe, or to the people who do not have that faith, it's okay. there are people who, you can have whatever faith you want, but to me, I just don't think that there is anything in this world that would draw me to the point of being able to make a deal with the devil.
Wow. All right. So you are one of the many that have said no.
What would you have said if I would have said yes?
You know what? I would have been like, all right.
All right. This is going live now, and we're going to smear Alec all across the internet. There goes your campaign, sir.
Down the toilet.
Down the toilet. All that time and effort gone.
Oh, that's so funny. No, that's a great answer. I love it. Yeah, it's just one of those fun things to do in one of those scenarios. And like I said, I've only had one. It was actually a couple. It was one, and this was like, it wasn't during a recording setting. It was I was actually out with a friend of mine, and we just happened to just talk with these random people in Ferndale of all places. So and they said yes, and they like said it without hesitation.
There's some people in this world that will.
Oh yeah.
There's an opportunity. I think that's something that we miss a lot in today's world, because we have that instant gratification. We have those things that are at our fingertips. We have those phones. We have those things that are, I've got my news. I've got this. I've got this text message. And there are these opportunities that are, you have to really just, I'm trying to think of the best word and the way to phrase it. But you have to take your time. You have to take your step. If you're meant to be the richest man in the world or woman, if you're meant to be the best looking, or if you're meant to be the whatever the best is, whatever the tip top is for your profession, for what you want, you have to work at it. That's always something that's there. And unfortunately, I feel like there's a generation of people who just want to be given that. And I mean, if I was to take a guess at those people, were they on the younger side of the spectrum, or were they older?
They were about, like, I would say like our age, maybe slightly younger. In there?
Okay. So they might be on the other end of that spectrum. They might be, the millennial that believes they're a Gen Zer. And, I feel like you run into that a lot with the instant gratification. I tell people all the time, the difference between me and my brother is a 4-year gap, but the difference on how we approach life and everything is totally different. Raised in the same household, same parents, same religious, same, like everything down the line was pretty much the same. He may have experienced things a little differently in his own aspects, but it's just insane what the difference is between the two of us. And there's nothing against him. I love my brother. He's the greatest. But it's very interesting how time, how generations, how different things work.
Yeah.
So it's just always interesting. That's why I always got to ask. Somebody who's going to sign with the devil. They might be a Gen Zer hanging out on TikTok. And
I don't know.
They got something instant.
I don't know, but it was just interesting. Yeah, just and like I said, how fast they were to say yes. Like it was really something. But well, Sir Alec, you made it out of the dark side.
Oh, sure. We might need to go back through that and cut out some of these things. I'd like to state formal apologies to begin. No, I'm kidding. I told you there's no filter, unfortunately, for me. I'm an honest person and I'm very transparent. If somebody is going to have a problem, you can always come talk to me. I want to understand what comes out of my mouth that offends people, and I'm not trying to offend people.
Well, and it's funny because I just saw a reel and I shared it. I posted it on my story feed, my personal story feed. It was of comedian. I love stand-up comedy too. Mm-hmm. So Mark Maron, he was doing this. He was doing this bit of like, if you don't have any haters, then you're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. Like if no one really fucking hates you, if there's at least like 2 people, because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. He's like, you got to have at least, 2 people that be like, yeah, fuck that. It's just like they're a piece of shit. It's like, then okay. So it was just it was funny. So I was like, absolutely, yeah. I was like, I think I posted like my caption I put on top of it. I was like, oh, I know. I was like, I'm sure I could put a list of mine on here, but yeah, no, you did it. Great job. Now we're gonna go back into the light.
Oh joy.
Oh joy.
Oh joy. all the softball questions that I pre-wrote out for you. Start with those.
Well, this first light side question that I like to ask is when you are not running the Clawson Chamber of Commerce, and now when you're also not trying to run a campaign for city council, what does Alec like doing in his spare time? What are your hobbies or activities?
So I'm a huge fan of Detroit City Football Club. They're a professional soccer team that is currently based in Hamtramck. They're going to be building a new stadium here in Detroit.
In Corktown, I think, right? Right?
It's going to be beautiful. Yeah, they just released all the sketches, drawings of the plans and everything, which I am technically an owner. When during COVID, they sold shares to the club to try to help everybody stay afloat and, keep everything going. And I bought into that. So I can say that I'm a proud owner of Detroit City Football Club, which is, I don't make any crazy decisions, and, I'm a voice of maybe 2,500 other owners, but it's an opportunity to support a team that I absolutely love. And any chance I get to go down to a game, I'm at. I've been on a little bit of a streak of missing them just because of how busy everything has been in life, but it is a passion. I grew up in a soccer household. I grew up in, supporting the sport. My dad was a ref. He played. I played. I was a ref. My brother played. It's always been a passion. So
wow.
Yes, Detroit City Football Club, up the city.
So you were a football player.
Yeah. Up until I hurt myself and I got a pin in my hip. That's It's like 6 inches. It's still there to this day.
If you don't mind, what happened?
Yeah, I was. This would have been, I think, freshman year of high school, maybe going into freshman year of high school. I was playing in a rec league, and I'm not a fancy player. I'm not a big goal scorer. I was a stopper. I was your defensive mastermind. I was there to kill the people at the back line before they could get to the goal. That's the nice way of putting it. But every once in a while, I would try to be that special player and do a trick or move around. And I got tackled. And instead of just getting tackled and landing on the ground, I landed on the ball right on my hip. And it turned out, which I thought it was at like a hamstring, either tear or hamstring issue, because that's sort of where I felt it at the time. And I'd had a hamstring issue before, earlier on in my life, from playing. And I went to my doctor. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's probably just a hamstring. You're going to have to, you just take it easy, relax it, So I walked around on that thing for 2 months before it was so painful I could barely walk. And I went into a specialist, an orthopedic surgeon, and he watched me walk down the hall. And he said, "I know exactly what you have. We need to get you into surgery immediately." So I come to find out that I have 2 fractures in my growth plate, because mind you, I was still growing. I also had a fracture in the top of my femur, and it was described to me as if you had your cone and you had your ice cream.
Yeah.
And the ice cream, it was a hot summer day, and it was melting, and it was slowly sliding off. And if it would have totally slid off, they would have had to fuse my hip. So I would have been walking around with a fused hip. And luckily, they caught it. And there's a very long scientific name for it that I cannot, 1, remember, and 2, I know if I did remember it, I would never be able to pronounce it. But it basically, they have to pin you back together. So they put that pin in there, and I haven't had any issues since, but it, let's just say, derailed my soccer playing.
I would imagine that would do it. Yeah.
I love it. There's a part of me still that would love to go play like over 30 men's, and play some indoor. Definitely got to get back in shape before I try that. But, it put a big stop, that went into my high school career. I never really got that kicked off. So I thought I was a pretty good player. I'm not saying I would have went pro, but I definitely would have continued to play up until this point if I did not have that.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
But again, like we were saying, like if if that hadn't have happened, then you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now, more than likely.
Correct. I mean, there's so many different things, whether you are religious or you're not religious. My wife always quotes this to me. She says, sometimes it's put into God's hands. There's a reason for why things happen. Back then I was not a big believer in that. And I was like, if there was a God, why the fuck did he do this to me? You live in those moments where you think and you're like, why is this happening? Why did it happen? Why do I have to constantly feel down or beaten up or whatever the case may be? And, the older I get, the more I understand that, there is a path, whether it's out there from a celestial being or a God or a this or whatever the case may be. There's a path in your life and things happen for a reason. And that was just one of my reasons. So it sucked. Wouldn't recommend it ever to anybody.
Yeah, no, that sounds fucking horrible.
Luckily, it didn't mess anything up enough to where I could walk and my legs still continued to grow. Because that also would have sucked too. One short leg, one long leg.
Yeah. Then what do you do? It's like,
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but yeah, there would have been a lot of interesting ways to deal with it. So
yeah, they would have had to Frankenstein you pretty much.
You know what? I love the Universal monsters, so I would have taken it.
Yeah, I would have taken it.
I would have taken it. I've already got a bolt in me just like Frankenstein, so I might as well continue on, right?
Yeah, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I love it. Okay, so soccer is a big one for you. So we're gonna wrap up here shortly because I know you got things to do and what have you.
I appreciate it.
But so probably one of the most important questions that I have. I mean, they're all important, but this one in particular. How can people contact you? How can they contact the Clawson Chamber of Commerce if they want to inquire about the chamber itself? How to become a member, events coming up. Do you have a website, phone number, email, social media? Now's the time to plug all of those things.
Of course. Yeah, so the best way, obviously, I am your guy, Alec Speshock. But the best way to do it, so if you ever want to join, we've made everything very simple, very easy. We have our website. It's clawsonchamber.org. www.clawsonchamber.org. Very simple to remember. You go on there, you can see sort of everything that we're doing. We try to update that one as fast as possible. The other way to do it is to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Clawson Chamber. So on Facebook, I think it's the Clawson Chamber of Commerce, the full name. On Instagram, I think it's just Clawson Chamber. And those are the fastest ways to see our updates. Like today, we have a quick pop-up for our Fall Claws and Paws Festival at Grand River Brewery from 5 to 8. This is probably not going out today, so that's probably not a good plug, but it's a fun one. We're working with this group. They're called Adventure Cats, and they're people who bring their cats out on adventures.
What?
So if you're a big cat lover, it'll be a fun opportunity. Next weekend, we've got Clawson Fest. Fall Claws and Paws Festival in September. We have a lot of opportunities, and the way I like to preface this, and it's sort of how we met and how we did our thing, is we emailed back and forth, and I said, sit down with me, have a conversation with me. Let's see what your business needs, because at the end of that conversation, your business might not need my help. You might not be in my realm of help, but maybe we can have a conversation and I might be able to get you in front of somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say, oh, you can't participate because you're not a chamber member, or, oh, you can't do this because you're this. Obviously, there's going to be exclusive perks for chamber members, but we try to open it up to other people to be able to test it out, see how it goes. We have our young professionals group. For our young professionals group, we had 11 people there for our first group, which I thought was amazing. Because sometimes you get a little rough, you might get like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people. We had 11 people, and out of those 11 people, I believe there was maybe 3 non-chamber members, but I provided that opportunity for them, and maybe they grow, maybe they join. There's opportunities.
Yeah, what was interesting about that get together was, so shout out to Yarrow of Yarrow Tech.
Yarrow's the best.
I have known Yarrow since
He is the
2020. So, and comes to find out, Yarrow and I, we have the same longevity with our businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So 9 years. And so I was talking with him because we hung out after that event. And I said to him, I was like, it was really interesting, man. I was like, and for the record, this is not a knock on the other people that were there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's funny because even though I'm still in the young professional category, so to speak, I'm 36. I'm not,
slowly ticking your way up there. Don't worry, we got a couple more years before we kick you out.
I'm just like, I'm like, it's wild to me because now I'm in a position where, I'm hearing people that were there that haven't even been in business for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, and I'm talking to them, and it's like I'm giving them like some like profound things. I'm not saying I am not a smart man.
Yeah, but going back to the Star Wars, you are the master versus the Padawan. You are somebody who's giving an opportunity to them. And that's the point of the young professionals. It's not just, come out because I'm under the age of 40. It's because I'm coming out because I want to, whether I'm an established business for 9 years like yourself, or a Yarrow, or you're somebody like Dan, or somebody like Steve, who have just launched their opportunities.
Which ones were they again?
So Dan, he's the one who does he sort of works in not marketing, but like the design and branding sort of side of things that he does. He owns the company Data Light. Yeah.
What does he look like?
He's the tall, skinny guy with the mustache.
Oh, him.
Yes, and he wears the Hawaiian shirt, so he always looks like, like Hawaii. I always tell him he's like Hawaii 5-0 or, like a Tom Selleck type.
He's been in, how long has he been in business, you said?
He started, so I think he was laid off in November last year.
Oh.
So he really just started this like under a year.
Wow.
And the same thing with Steve. Steve, he is primary care financial.
He's the financial planner.
And he does like accounting for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, those types. And he can be somebody who takes something off your plate, with bookkeeping or something like that, because knowing your worth is your time, and having that time to be able to do more helps you grow, helps you make more money. And that's sort of an opportunity that he provides. But yeah, he had been in accounting for years, but he decided to start his own, and it was just, I think he is beginning of the year. So even sooner than
It's so
Dan.
wild to me.
But you could be 36 and Steve could be 38. You could still have that master Padawan, side to it, because you have been through the ringer. You've seen those different sides to things. 9 years is a long time.
Tell me about it.
You could change. There's so many changes in life. In the last 9 years, I bought my first home. I got married. I don't want to even quote how many jobs I've probably changed in the last 9 years. But it's having those opportunities, and there's a change, and your perspective can lead to that. And that's the point of these groups. It's not just let's grab a beer and hang out because we're all under 40. Right. Woohoo! It's being able to go out there.
And here's something to think about. I'm going to put this on record because I did this with my networking group that I run, New Wave.
Yep.
We will obviously showcase our members and have them do presentations, but then I'll also have discussion prompts. I can't talk. And one of the prompts was, tell us about a moment that was a humbling experience, good or bad, and what did it do for you? And it was interesting to hear everyone's experiences, because I was telling them about an experience I went through back in 2021 where, it's a long story. We can do another episode about this another time. But, I thought that I was going to be in some huge legal dispute. But then comes to find out my name was nowhere on the papers. So I dodged a huge bullet, but it came at a cost. Not even just financially, but
mentally.
and also with
emotionally.
Yeah, and I mean there are people that I don't speak to anymore because
Friendships.
of it.
Yep. That's
So
the dark side of business.
It is, and I think I call it. I always say too, it's like, you know, kind of like being able to filter out some businesses or some business owners, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's like I could tell some of those people sitting at that table without really getting to, even just hearing on the surface level, like what they're all about and like kind of like their demeanor. Like I could tell that some of them haven't had that oh shit moment yet. Because
Keyword.
It's going to happen. Like it's going to happen, and I think it's when it does, how are they going to navigate it? And then you have someone like you said, the master, which is wild to think about, you know, that has gone through something like that.
It's true. I mean, you see the other ups and downs of each business. I mean, in 9 years for you, I'm sure there's been moments where you're like, shit, this might be it. This might be the end of it. But, But there's other sides of it too, where you go, oh my God, I'm doing it. This is my passion. This is what has drawn me to this business, and I am going to be able to continue to provide a roof over my head, feed me, do all these different things for me and my family, and all these different opportunities. And it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. But it's also going back to Star Wars. It's the light side of entrepreneurship, and then there's a dark side of entrepreneurship. And unfortunately, you're going to witness both of them. You're not going to be able to just, you know, dance around. It's like that. What's that meme from 21 Jump Street where they're on that bad trip and Jonah Hill's like with the dark volcanoes and lightning and Channing Tatum's on the other side like whoa, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm having a bad trip. You know, so it's just, unfortunately, you're going to be on one of those sides, and it's just, you got to be able to maneuver it, because there is a way out of the dark side to the light side. And unfortunately, there is a way from the light side to the dark side. So if you can maneuver it and you can stay in the middle, leaning more towards the light side, you're going to be good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see and connect more with some of those other young professionals and just kind of see where they're at. Because like I talked to one, he was sitting right next to me, and like I was telling,
was that Chris?
May have been.
Yeah.
But he was thinking about starting, because I think he said he works for he's a contractor for Meyer.
Yep.
Okay, so he was and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting a business, and he's like, what do you do? Like how? And I said, I've got my own digital marketing company. He's like, oh yeah, how long? And I was like, I just came up on 9 years. He's like, oh my God, dude. He's like, congratulations. I was like, yeah. And he's just like, how did you? And it's just to hear that, like, how did you do it? Or it's just like, it's so wild to me now, because like, not that long ago, I would have been that person kind of going like,
doing the opposite side.
Yeah.
Being able to say, oh my God, you've been in business for 9 years?
Yeah.
Tell me your secrets. Tell me how you did it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know what? That same person you probably asked, just like he asked you, was probably like, fuck, I don't know. I did it though. You know,
we're here.
There's moments that you're going to be able to impart that wisdom.
Yeah.
There's opportunities for it. And that's what you bring to the table.
And I think honestly, if we had maybe at the next outing that we do next week,
yeah.
You know, maybe do a discussion prompt of like, I mean, we're all adults. You could say like, what has been your oh shit moment? And if someone says I haven't had that, you know, it's like, well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Buckle up, buttercup.
Buckle up, yeah.
You're going to be in for a rude awakening. It's going to hit you.
Yeah. So, but no, it's great. It's great to connect with other business leaders and business figures in the community. And so with that being said, thank you so much for being here,
of course,
Alec. This was great. I had a blast.
Yeah, I love talking with you, man.
Yeah,
you're always fun to just shoot the shit with. That's fun. It's always good to get a laugh too for all the things I say.
Well, because we share. I think because coming from the same generation, and we share some of the same kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we're totally messed up. We're just so dark.
You know, it's like what's that one? A bunch of these memes have said like, you need to understand with millennials like what we grew up with and what like we've had to endure. We've had to endure We've had to endure 9/11. We had to endure a recession. We had to endure a pandemic. We've had to endure all of these things.
No.
And it's like, so forgive us if we're like a bit shell-shocked.
We're the, I wouldn't even call it shell-shock anymore. We're just the elder statesmen of the world of what the fuck. We've lived through it. I wake up every morning and I just go, okay, well, there wasn't a big flash last night, so I know I'm still alive. And if this is heaven, this is gonna be a fun one. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where I'm at. I'm stuck in maybe purgatory. I don't know yet. We'll see though. Every day is, you know what? Every day is good. You know, I get to interact with good people. I have great conversations, and I think that's the special part of what I get to do. You know, it's an opportunity. If I was at my previous job, they would have told me, get out of here. You're not driving 30 minutes to go sit down and talk on a podcast for an hour to come back. I get that opportunity now. I get to interact with the businesses that are part of my opportunity, and it's also a way to pay back, to pay forward knowledge. You could listen to this entire podcast and say, you know what? Alec is a genius. Or you could listen to it and say, wow, what an idiot. I just listened to him for the last hour and 15 minutes.
I highly doubt that.
But whatever the case is, I'm going to look at you in the microphone. Whatever the case is, I said microphone, in the camera. See, I'm exhausted today. Whatever the case may be, there's always going to be an up and down. There's always going to be an opportunity to improve yourself or better yourself. Just be open and honest with constructive criticism and have good people surrounding you. That's what I have to say.
Well, I think on that note, what a great way to end this episode of Marketing Minds Meet. I want to thank my guest, Alec Speshock, again for being here today with the Clawson Chamber of Commerce and also running for City Council in the city of Clawson. Alec, thank you so much again. And thank you, everyone that's tuned in, watched this episode. Once again, it's because of you that we continue to keep this going. So if you're new here and if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see all kinds of different Marketing Minds footage, WA Hooper marketing, media, all those fun stuff. And also we're on Spotify as well, so you can find us on there. And that's going to conclude this episode of Marketing Minds Meet, and we will catch you next time. Have a good one.
Peace.